Okay, guys, so I've kind of thought about doing a new series for my YouTube channel, as I said in the previous video, and I think I may have gotten a bit of an idea. So, a YouTuber called ZakRC did this series known as F1 Ultimate Career Mode, where he basically did a normal F1 career mode, well, kind of like a normal F1 career mode, and just did it across multiple games, from F1 2020 to F1 25. And yeah, he told me he had a lot of fun doing this, so I thought, why don't I try it myself? I'll put his playlist in the description and his YouTube channels to give him credit. And yeah, I think I might do it since I have a couple of F1 games. I think I have like 5 F1 games. So yeah, this should be possible, and it will be really interesting to see. So yeah. Alright then, so now we're on F1 2018, and now we're going to be starting our career on the first game. This is the first game that I'm going to be doing. Now, let's get into career now. So, we need to choose a team. Now, I already have done a bit of a plan of what I'm going to do for the series as what team are we going to join? I'm not going to be going into any of the top teams. Maybe like a midfield team, or maybe like one of the back market teams. So basically, none of these like I don't want to go into these like any of these top 4 teams. Maybe like one of the bottom 4 teams. Okay, maybe not Haas. So it looks like that. Yeah. For our first ever season, we're gonna be going to McLaren, and okay, right. The teammate bay is gonna be the teammate bay is gonna be a little bit difficult, to be fair, because like I don't want like a very hard teammate, because Fernando I know is pretty good on the game, but I don't want to like get destroyed, so I'm gonna be going with Stoffel Van Dorn. Right now, oh, we got an achievement. Okay, so we're gonna be going into short qualifying, 50% race. 94 difficulty for every track. For every track, I think 94 to 95 maybe. I want to challenge for points in a couple of races. 94. I got 94. Full damage, safety car, regular, manual, tire temperature assist. There we go. We got all the assists, and there we go. Now we're done. We're going to be starting our F1 2018 career mode here in Australia. Oh god, I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen in the first race, like last time when we did the F1 2019 career mode. But surely nothing will go wrong. Come on.
Thanks for coming by. I'm sure you're very anxious to get out on track. It's taken a lot of effort to get to F1. Congratulations. But the real work starts now. This is
Claire, motorsports journalist. Nice to meet you. You'll be seeing quite a lot of me throughout the season. So, you had a pretty impressive junior career. How are you feeling about your move into F1? Do you think you have what it takes?
Let's save the questions for a proper interview, shall we? I'm sure you'll have a lot more to talk about once there's been some action on track. I think we could fit you in after FP1 if you're free.
That works for me. I'll grab you the second you finish on the track.
Remember, the relationship you have with the team can be affected by what you say to the media. So be careful. Anyway, it's time to catch up with Carl. He's waiting for you in the data center. Good luck out there today.
Welcome to the data center. Here, we've got access to all kinds of information, including car telemetry, weather, lap times, tyre wear, the list goes on. Plus, we've got a direct link back to the factory, so we're in constant communication with the team there. We need you to regularly feedback about areas of the car that are lacking and help us direct our resources in the most productive way. More effort here equals a quicker car, so it's well worth the effort. Good luck this season. Oh, and make us all look good, okay?
Welcome to your new team. McLaren are one of the most successful teams in the sport, and they've reinvented themselves over the past few years. They demand excellence from all areas of their organisation, and they'll expect you to integrate yourself and get up to speed from the first race.
Now, overall looking at the R&D chart, it looks like that Mercedes and Ferrari have the clear quickest cars. They're very close, with Red Bull just a bit behind. Eventually, all the midfield teams, including Haas, Renault and Force India, are there, and then McLaren are just a little bit behind, with Toro Rosso and Sauber overall having a similar car, being in the eighth, being in the second worst car, and Williams are practically nowhere. So yeah, overall this will be a pretty interesting car grid or whatever, I don't know. And hopefully we can try and get ourselves at least to where Renault is by the end of the season, so we can have a pretty decent competitive car. But for now, we're going to be heading now into practice to do some practice. Now, overall in practice, we were pretty quick and we were able to complete some of the practice programs pretty easily, as I was able to do the track acclimatization program, and here's me just doing the race strategy program. I'm just doing 5 laps around the track, and overall, looking at the timing thing, we were overall equal with Van Dorn on lap times when we both used the super soft tire. Overall, this was pretty realistic considering I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want my ODI to be really slow because I don't want anything crazy to happen, like me magically just getting in the top 5 in practice would be not really realistic, as I want to be decently realistic. I don't want to, I'm not saying that when F1 career YouTubers are like winning races in midfield cars, I'm not saying that's bad. It's probably just them being good at the game overall. I just want to make mine like actually realistic. I don't know why I want to do this, but you know, it just seems a lot more fun and challenging, to be fair. And yeah, eventually, to be fair, most practice programs were quite easy, and I didn't really have any problems with it. Now, yeah, I don't really have much else to say, to be fair, as I guess we'll probably just go to qualifying now after the practice. Eventually we came out and did our first lap of qualifying. Because it was short qualifying, I really could only do like 2 laps max. And eventually Van Dorn just came out of the pit and actually was doing an lap ahead of us, meaning that we actually were able to get a little bit of slipstream off him, even though I did practically miss most of him, as he just completely swerved past and I went on the grass. As I actually had a pretty good first sector, as I was only 2/10 off Raikkonen, meaning that this could be a pretty good lap, to be fair. And I think I was about 4/10 off in the second sector, meaning that I could potentially be in the top 10, which would be very good. And eventually, round off the final corner, we had a little slide, but eventually we were able to keep it clean and do the final corner without no problems. And eventually, coming up to the line, we would end up being P5, just between Magnussen and Hulkenberg. So yeah, overall it was a pretty good lap, to be honest, as I did to give up Van Dorn a little bit of slipstream also, and eventually just ended my lap. So yeah, that was pretty good, to be fair. It was better than I expected, to be honest. I thought we would be like P15 or something, but yeah. Eventually everyone did their laps and I was overall in a pretty good P7, and yeah, it seemed very good, to be honest, as I couldn't really improve on my second lap, as I was pretty bad on my second lap. And eventually, fast forwarding to the end of the session, I don't know why I decided to pause the voiceover literally before I even finished it. That was a bit.
Here's a look at your top 3. Vettel, Hamilton and Kimi Raikkonen. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself.
So it looks like that overall we're actually going to be starting P11 and Van Dorn's P12, so overall it wasn't a bad qualifying. Unfortunately, we did end up outside the top 10 after a lot of drivers were able to improve, but yeah, there were a couple of shocks, including Perez being a bit low, and to be fair, Bottas being behind of Renault. I have no idea. Verstappen in P10 actually. So yeah, this was a very interesting qualifying, to say the least.
Great work out there today. How do you think it went? It's been a great qualifying session for you. Are you going to carry that momentum into the race?
I mean, the car feels very good on the track, and we'll see what will happen.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
I mean, to be fair, the car sometimes didn't have much downforce. It just felt like it wouldn't turn.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay. Looks like we're done with that. We're done with qualifying, I guess. I guess we'll be going into the race now.
New drivers, new cars, and a new Formula One season. But it's the same Albert Park that we've come to know and love for more than 2 decades now, that hosts the first round of a 21-race championship, taking us from here in Melbourne, Australia, across the globe, before we eventually reach the season finale at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. Just south of Melbourne's downtown business centre is the one and only Albert Park circuit. Let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Nico Hülkenberg, and Bottas, Sainz, Magnussen, Ocon, and Max Verstappen. Lucky, Van Dorn, Romain Grosjean, and Gasly, Ericsson, Hartley, Sergio Perez, and Charles Leclerc. Sirotkin and Lance Stroll rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
We're in a better grip position than we were expecting. Let's see if we can hold on to it.
Well, Jeff, to be fair, I personally hope so. We're going to now be starting the race from the grid. And it's 5 laps, so it's lights out and away we go. And we have a pretty decent start, to be fair, as looks like there's some moves ahead as Grosjean's trying to make a move on us, and it might be free wide, but we are going to take the outside line and get past Verstappen, actually. So we're now up to P10, and yeah, there's a lot of squabbling going on ahead, which is pretty interesting, as it looks like Ocon's going to send him massively down the inside of everyone, as Verstappen's going to try and get past us, but we have the outer line, meaning that we were able to stay past us. We make contact with Verstappen, and looks like Magnussen and Sainz are squabbling just ahead for 8th place, as they're actually really holding everyone up, to be fair. There's actually already 2 trains on the minimap. As yeah, now eventually, eventually they stop squabbling with Sainz coming out on top, just ahead of Magnussen. So yeah, overall we've actually gained 1 position, which is very good, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold up Verstappen or not. I'm not expecting to actually finish the points, as I almost ran into the back of Magnussen because I outbraked myself. But yeah, we're going to see what will eventually happen, as we're going to try and stick with the guys ahead and eventually see if we can pull away, as it looks like there's already a massive gap behind to my teammate, because it looks like the back markers are all fighting behind, with Grosjean and Van Dorn going at it just behind me. As Verstappen's going to try and make a move on us, but eventually we have the inside line, and eventually you stay ahead of him. And yeah, eventually going into the next lap of this race, overall, Hamilton's actually taken the lead of Vettel, with Raikkonen now in 3rd and Ricciardo in 4th. And then it's Bottas, Hülkenberg, Ocon, Sainz, Magnussen, and then ourselves in the top 10. Verstappen being out in the top 10 is pretty weird, because I was expecting to be a lot quicker. But eventually, we're going to try and stick with Magnussen and Sainz, as personally I think this will be great for us. So like this, we'll be able to run away from Verstappen, as Verstappen doesn't seem to be that quick, even though he is on a softer compound, because everyone in the bottom 10 except Sergei Sirotkin, who started P19, is the only one who actually started on the ultra soft, whilst everyone else from P11 to P18 and P20 all started on the super soft, including myself, because most people will probably be doing a 1-stop strategy. I wasn't sure if the guys on the ultra softs were going to do a 1-stop or a 2-stop, but I actually did end up realizing that practically almost everyone on the softer compound tire, the ultra softs, actually ended up doing a 1-stop, as Sirotkin was the only one who was going to do a 2-stop, I think, and Hülkenberg eventually also did a 2-stop, but I don't know how the race went for him so far. So yeah, as we actually have a purple sector, as I don't know why I paused the menu here. I think someone entered the room, and I was like, bruh. To be fair, I think I need to get my personal studio. To be fair, this is like really unfair. Now, eventually just skipping a couple of laps ahead on lap 6, Grosjean actually was able to get past Verstappen, because I battled with Verstappen for a couple of laps, meaning that Grosjean actually got past me, and now I'm practically nowhere, as they're still battling, as Verstappen was able to overtake him. And eventually, it looks like there's a bit of a train from Valtteri to Magnussen, as yeah, it looks like I'm really struggling to stick with the guys ahead, as they already have almost a 6-second gap ahead, which is crazy. Now, eventually, looking at everyone else, it looks like Van Dorn's actually dropped the place to Sergio Perez, as Perez is trying to recover from his terrible qualifying session, as battling with Marcus Ericsson for P13. So yeah, eventually the time doesn't seem that bad, as we are actually doing a 1-stop, so we're probably in a box just before the halfway mark of the race, as it seems like that the guys ahead are just gonna keep pulling away, because Valtteri is just carrying everyone in a slipstream. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to fight for the guys ahead or not, but if we do, I'll be pretty surprised. A retirement would be pretty good because eventually I will be able to gain an extra position. As it looks like Verstappen might have actually just lit his tires up, as I have no idea why, but from this point onwards he seems to be pretty quick. And eventually we're going to get our first driver pitting as Nico Hulkenberg, and a couple of other drivers have actually gone into the pits for a bit of a tyre change actually, which is pretty interesting, as Verstappen was unfortunately able to get back ahead of us, and eventually Grosjean's now behind us, as Vettel comes out just behind us, meaning that if I need to try and stay in Verstappen's DRS, which I luckily managed to, I'll probably be able to run away from Grosjean, even though it'll be a bit hard in this McLaren, because seeing this McLaren car isn't even one of the quickest cars, to be fair. So yeah, eventually we're going to put in a couple of laps time, as it looks like a lot of the drivers have gone on the soft tyre and might be going to the end with Hulkenberg. It looked like Nico Hulkenberg was actually on the super soft tyre or something, because he's probably going to be doing a two-stop, I guess. I don't know why he's doing a two-stop when he qualified very well in P5, because I'll just make him lose positions, as two-stoppers usually on the way to go here in Australia, to be fair. But yeah.
Less than a second separate you. We're dropping back by around 4/10 a lap. They're on old ultra softs. Their tyres are 9 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1 minute 28.5.
I also have no idea what happened behind me, because I eventually looked back and it looks like Grosjean did some sort of mistake and just let Vettel and Ricciardo, I think, by and lost a lot of time to me. I have no idea if Vettel just like pushed him off the track or... But yeah, eventually looks like Verstappen and a couple of other drivers, including the leaders of Hamilton and Raikkonen, have actually gone into the pits, which means that Bottas is actually leading the race. Eventually, I was able to just come out. Eventually, I'm now ahead of both Ferraris, with Hamilton just there. Now, eventually I do need to try and be careful, because I can't just crash into one of the leaders, because I'll probably just ruin my race. So I need to somehow just let them overtake me very nicely without any problems. So I'll probably let both of them pass on the straight, which should be easy enough, to be fair. As yeah, this race wasn't going that bad, to be fair, but it was looking pretty boring. Not a safety car or anything, or a retirement has even happened. Well, as I was speaking about safety cars, it looks like Esteban Occon's engine decided to just explode or something, and yeah, we've had our first retirement of the race, and this granted us a virtual safety car. Now, I needed this virtual safety car to last long enough till I got to the pit lane, because I was actually boxing this lap. I mean, that this had technically helped me, but I wasn't too sure, because I don't know if a virtual safety car does really make you gain time during a pit stop or not, but it probably did give me some time, to be fair. So eventually I decided I'm going to be boxing this lap, even though I think Randall was actually meant to be boxing, but I have like a 15-second gap behind him. Surely there wouldn't be a problem with that. So yeah, overall the race was actually not even that bad, as I'm always horrible at the safety car deltas. I don't know why. As yeah, we're going to be coming just in at the end of this lap, and the safety car is going to be ending just as we enter the pit lane. And yeah, eventually we're going to be get on the going now, as we're going to be making our pit stop. As Hulkenberg will get past us, even though you probably have to pit again. And then we'll have Valtteri Bottas just behind. Van Dorn eventually was also meant to pit, but I think the double stack will go perfectly fine, I'm sure. So yeah, eventually we have a decent pit stop, even though the clutch I didn't really get off it. And eventually, it looks like that we're going to be coming out just behind Verstappen, and we're going to be coming out just ahead of Grosjean, as we also have Perez behind, and Magnussen was actually also there, but he had some sort of mechanical issue, basically meaning he was going to be really slow. So yeah, overall we're probably guaranteed P9 unless we don't somehow lose out to Grosjean, which is just what we need to happen, because we can't just... Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say, I'm just bad at voiceovers. This is, to be fair, the first mistake I've done, to be honest, but oh well.
You're in ninth position. Verstappen is ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 1.3 seconds. They're on fresh softs. Grosjean behind. Okay, the gap behind is 6.3 seconds. They're on fresh softs. The virtual safety car is out. Reduce speed.
Now, eventually another virtual safety car actually happens, and this was because Sorokin ended up retiring, as I was checking the race director, and it seemed like Sorokin had retired. as I said, he had DNF'd. Now, to be fair, this was unfortunately pretty bad, as Grosjean just ended up overtaking me on that same lap, just a couple of seconds before the virtual safety car. Eventually, me and I was now stuck behind him. I did check the race director, but to be fair, it was literally nothing. So yeah. So yeah, eventually we are now down to P10. But to be completely honest with you, I thought we could I thought I could easily get Grosjean back, because if I was able to stay ahead of him for at least past laps, then sure I should be able to find back and get him, right? Well, unfortunately, just after the virtual safety car ended, it looks like that I had just terrible pace for some reason, which is not ideal, to be fair. Now, eventually nothing really happened, as I couldn't really stick with Grosjean, and eventually was practically having my own race until this happened.
We've been awarded a time penalty. We'll go against our finishing time at the end of the race.
Unfortunately, I got a penalty after I eventually got my third track limit warning, which was pretty bad because Perez was practically catching up. Now, eventually I knew I could most likely just stay ahead of him if I just kept the consistency up as I was, as Perez was about 4 seconds behind, basically meaning I just had to be consistent and not do what I just did there, just going on the grass, to eventually keep this point finish and eventually be able to score a point on debut, which is pretty shocking considering I thought it was going to be a lot slower, to be fair. So yeah, eventually I had to just push to the end. I wasn't going to directly push too much, because if I did I would probably just burn out the tires and eventually do a mistake. So I just kept it nice and calm and eventually tried and do consistent lap times. So yeah, that was basically the plan. I didn't really have anything else to do. All I had to do was just keep it clean and voila, I would be good. Now, eventually, we were able to bring it directly onto the final lap, and eventually, we had a decent gap to Perez. As I said, a very good lap time. I was able to improve on my best. To be fair, this was a very good race in my opinion. I was expecting to be a little slow, to be fair, considering whenever I do Australia, I'm just very slow. Or, because whenever I did Australia last time, on F1 2019, the air difficulty was like 91. I did this at 95, and to be completely honest with you, I don't know if the AI are different on the previous game or I don't know. But to be fair, this was a very good race in my standards. We were able to score points. Now, Van Dorn unfortunately did lose a position because Perez eventually was able to get past him, and eventually Ericsson somehow managed to get past him. And I thought Ericsson was like slower than Van Dorn on this game. I thought the Salvo was going to be slower, but to be fair, I am so happy as Hamilton will come on to win the race, just ahead of Vettel and Raikkonen. So yeah, it was a pretty good race. It was a very unfortunate for Vettel that I couldn't keep this pole position, but eventually I actually got another warning, and I was very close to getting my second penalty, so I would have easily thrown it away. But to be fair, it was my second warning, so till the next penalty. So yeah, I was practically safe, and eventually, yeah, I'm pretty satisfied as we round off the final couple of corners. We will come home and finish in P10 for this first race of the season, and yeah, this will be a very good result for the team and they'll be very happy.
Okay, good job mate, really well done. That was a fantastic drive.
Today, that's another historic win. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts.
It comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix. So then, it's time time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. And now I'd like to ask you, Anthony Davidson, who was your driver of the day?
Let's give it to Sergio Perez. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
And here's how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes moves to the top of the table. That's it for today's...
So yeah, eventually these are the 4 results you can pause if you want to see them, and overall the championship standings, as here they are, won't be affected as this is the first race of the season, and it'll just be the results, as we're now in the top 10 in the standings with Van Dorn in 13th. And if we just have a look at the constructors standings, we should be P6 with 1 point, as Force India unfortunately with Occa's retirement didn't get any points, which is very unfortunate. And eventually, yeah, Mercedes now lead the constructors just by 2 points over Ferrari. So yeah guys, this was pretty much a very good race, and I'm very satisfied overall. So yeah, hopefully we can have more good races like this one in the future.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
I mean, there's not really a secret, to be fair. It's just there being a great team and a great car that I'm with.
You left a lot of paint on the walls today. Were you struggling for grip, or did you just miss...
I mean, the car was like really sliding. Like, I did have a lot of oversteer and understeer, to be fair.
Appreciate your time.
Alright then, so I guess we're done with the interview thingy for this race. Okay, I'm very happy, to be fair. So yeah guys, that is going to be the video for today, and to be completely honest with you, I'm recording this about 6 hours before Happy New Year, so I will wish you guys a early Happy New Year. And yeah, to be completely honest with you guys, I did enjoy doing this first race, so yeah, I'll see you all next time, and once again, credit to ZakRC for the idea, and yeah, I'll see you all next time, so bye I suppose.